Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rockstar Connect. My name is Izso, and I'm going to be with you through this whole thing. We have the most amazing, successful panelists in the world. They are entrepreneurs. They are the business owners. They are the people who are going to give you practical information to help you succeed in both business and life. Now, before I go on, let me introduce to you the Elvis of Rockstar Connect. He is Stephen David Elliot.
Wow, that was a very boisterous introduction. Thank you very much, Jay. I think I should be wrestling someone now, so get absolutely ready. We're here at 3 Martini Lunch, and we're real excited as Rockstar Connect to be back. Of course, staying with you virtually, but being back live. Many people have been calling us from all over the country. They've been going to live events. They want to sponsor their own live events, and they're very excited about it, as are we. Sarah's with me, Sarah Clark Elliot. She is the co-creator of Rockstar Connect, my wife and the producer of the show, as is Alan, who is in the very rainy Philippines. We got this. What do you have this week besides earthquakes, volcanoes, and storms? Anything else we need to know about, Alan?
Well, we have a gold medal in the Olympics, weightlifting for the female category.
That's fantastic. When was the last time you guys had a gold medal in the Olympics?
This is the first time.
Never.
So, something to celebrate.
They gave him a condo and cash for winning.
Yeah, that's about right.
Well, congratulations. That's fantastic. That the whole country must be saying, I don't care how much it's raining. We have a hero. We're ready to welcome home. Congratulations.
Thanks.
We're doing very well in the Olympics as well, aren't we? Like our best start ever?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Not so much. I thought we had our best start ever, more gold medals ever.
Worst
start ever. I need to, work on my reading comprehension.
You read too fast.
I read too fast. I just saw the title real quickly, and I thought it was the best start ever. So last week we left 3 Martini Lunch in an exciting moment where Jay Izso, a famous coach from the Raleigh area, nationally and internationally known, offered to come up with the question this week. And he reached out to me this AM and let me know that he has a really good, challenging question for all of you to answer. So without further ado, I'm going to jump over to you, Jay, and please share the question with us.
All right, rock stars. Here's the question, right? And I know that we got all these people listening in, and they're always looking for practical information, and you folks are the best. So here is the question I thought might help them. What was the best marketing idea you ever had that brought you the most ROI, and where did it come from?
Oh, that's a really good one. Can I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, do you guys remember something? They were made out of paper and they were yellow. They were pretty thick and you could find phone numbers in them. Yeah, the yellow pages.
Phone books.
Phone books, yeah. So when I had my first brick and mortar business, they gave me this ad. I happened to be in a non-competitive area in the yellow pages. Not a lot of bookstores in the yellow pages, even in the 90s. And I was able to get a really incredible ad for very little money. When I say very little money, it still cost me several $1,000s a month. But in the ages of the yellow pages, that was very inexpensive as compared to doctors and lawyers. And my ad was what they considered color then. It was yellow. It was a yellow ad with a blue square in it where you could put the directional in it, like a map. And I said, well, can I put that for anything that I want in that little square? They said, absolutely. We really thought you were going to put a little map there, but you can put whatever you want. So I just opened my store and I put the world famous Kindle bookshelf in that square. And I trained all my staff to answer the phone as, this is the world famous Kindle bookshelf. And we basically declared ourselves the most famous bookstore in South Florida. And it was tremendous for marketing. And I did that with every store going forward.
I love that. And I think what I love most about that and what people may miss is that you found an area where no one else was at to market, right? That was the real big key, is that sometimes we miss like the old-fashioned marketing. We kind of pass it by because we don't think it's effective. But if there's nobody there, it can be one of the most effective marketing places we can be.
Yeah, well, I ended up stopping being with the Yellow Pages because one day I had a woman come in who was easily in her 90s. She was using a walker. This was probably back in 2005 or 6. And I said, "How did you find the store?" And she said, "Well, I Googled it, of course."
Oh, that's awesome.
So then I called my representative and I said, free at last, thanks the Yellow Page ad for 4 brick and mortar stores. I mean, you could pay several mortgages in several homes. So it was definitely freeing.
All right, let's, Rena, Cook, what was your best marketing idea that brought you the best ROI? Where did it come from?
Well, my best marketing idea was speak about your business in order to grow your business. And so I started speaking about what I do to anyone who would listen. Any organization that needed a free lunch speaker, I would volunteer to talk about what I do and to demonstrate what it is that I do. And invariably, whenever I have that opportunity, I get 3 or 4 clients, at least seeking information about what it is that I do. This came into focus for me with a coach called Aurora Gregory out of Los Angeles. And she had developed a whole system about speaking about your business. And so I just started doing that. And of all the things that I do, that always yields me the most leads and clients who are interested in what I do.
I think it's great. We underestimate the power of free when it comes to marketing. I think we underestimate that, because most people go, I got to get paid. And yes, I understand that we all want to be profitable, but sometimes we have to step and do things for free because they do lead to other things.
Right.
Right.
And because for me, speaking is easy. It doesn't cause me a lot of stress or a lot of angst. I actually enjoy it. So when I can find an opportunity to talk to people in person about what it is that I do, they are going to be interested. They don't find me from my website, and I have a good one. They don't find me from social media. They may be reinforced by what they heard me say when they see something on social media. But hearing me speak about what I do is the secret sauce.
So literally, it is for you, Rena, word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
It literally is. And you said your coach gave you the idea, which, by the way, I think is really kind of neat, is that, we all need coaches. I'm a coach, but I still need a coach. And the truth is your coach kind of helps you kind of carve out this idea. Is that correct?
To get clear about it. It was something I knew I kind of wanted to do, but it was her insistence that I get clear about what it is that I do, how I talk about it, and how I find those venues to give my message.
I love that. That's awesome. Let's move on to Christina Turner. Christina, there she is. Right, you're in Atlanta. Is that right, Christina?
I am outside of Atlanta, actually in the Buckhead area. So, yeah.
I know Buckhead well. Love Preachy's. Is Preachy's still there, that Italian restaurant there?
I have no idea. I just recently moved here. So, I don't know.
Well, I loved Preachy's. They were fantastic. So what was your best marketing idea that you ever had that brought you the best ROI? Where'd it come from? These
flyers. These 4 by 6, 4.5 by 6.5. I use these. This is actually for one of my businesses, my tax business. I have them also for my event planning company. I also have them for my upcoming event that I'm doing right now. I get out and I either hand them to people or I put them on their, I try not to put it on their cars, but like say for instance, if I'm at a mall or something, you may get one of these from me. Or, I'm just staying and be like, hey, I'm a wedding planner, or, I do taxes, I do business, consulting, da 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 for other businesses, and I handle this, and they were like, oh yeah, I need that, yeah, yeah, of course. So me actually having face-to-face contact with someone, um, that has worked for me. Just getting out and just engaging with people, that has worked out for me tremendously as well. And because of that, when I said, well, if you don't need it, can you hand it to someone else? Can you give it to someone else? Also my business card. Sometimes if someone say, if I'm somewhere and we're talking about something, I'm like, oh yeah, I did this before. And they was like, oh, can I have your business card? I always give them two, that one for each hand, like you do a toddler, you give them cracker for each hand so that they can share it with someone else. So yeah, these were good for me.
Where did you get the idea from? Where did that come from?
Actually, my personal photographer in Houston, that's how he got a lot of clients. And he was one of the things, and also Von McDaniel, he's a big promoter in Houston, Texas for events. He was like, you need to get some flyers. When I first got to Texas, and I was like, what? He was like, yeah, get you these kind of flyers, whatever. So at first, I would get them, I go right on Fiverr, have someone to create the flyers. But then I got so good at it because it's been so long ago. Like I created these myself. And if I don't have the time, I hire it out. And Vaughn McDaniel and also my photographer were the two people that told me, just give out your card, just give out, that when you're somewhere standing. And that's how like people come to your events. That's how people are able to know about your business. And it worked. Also, another thing that I did too with these, when I was flying for a major airline, I would slip these in the mailboxes. I was able to slip them in the mailboxes. So that also helped boost, my business as well, and then also word of mouth. And so, if people seeing it, they'll be like, "Oh, did you get this in your mail?" Yeah, I'm gonna go to her. Or, "Oh, I already have her. She already does, my business consulting for me or my taxes for me, or she's already written my business plan for me. She's already done that for me." So yeah, and it really works. I don't know why it works for me. I don't know, because I'm shy. I'm introvert, extrovert. So when I'm in the mood, I just go, walking out and hand these out.
Yeah, I think we underestimate that the business card still works. It still works. I know people, are trying to do, do you remember people trying to do the digital business cards on the USB things? They tried to do them, and it just never worked. Handing people a physical card still has power. And I think we underestimate that, but I think it's because they can touch it. It's psychologically, it's one more way. It's a modality that we can touch it, feel it, and read it and look at it. And I think it's powerful. And I think it's great. And I think people need to consider, sometimes we get so caught up into the digital world, we forget that the simplest idea is still, touching the card.
Yeah, I would say it's also a great way to pass on a value proposition. It has to have a call to action to be successful.
Sure.
And an event is about one of the best value propositions you can give anyone. People just like to be invited, whether they actually attend or not. They're going to remember you. And as far as business cards, digital cards have certainly come a long way, but I still use physical cards too. And I've had people hand back to me my physical cards years after I met them. Or people in other states have said, someone gave me your card. They just thought your card was so cool. And I wanted to call the person that had that card and use them in my business.
Yeah, I think I still have a beardless Stephen David Elliot card somewhere. I think I still do.
Probably do.
I think I still do somewhere in there.
I used to tell people you could take the card, bring it to the pawn shop, and get $1 for it if you ever got arrested.
That's awesome. Diego Munoz, what was your best marketing idea that brought you the best ROI? Where'd it come from?
Well, Jay, it's a two-part answer, if you'll allow.
Sure.
It started off when I first got into the business. that I want to pay huge props to Mr. King, because I started off in the business and I dressed in a suit and tie every day. And I was new to commercial real estate, suit and tie every day. That was the way that I wanted to get noticed. And I did, because in Raleigh, North Carolina, in the middle of the summer, only crazy people wore a suit and tie in the middle of the day. But it got people's attention. As, who's that guy? And if you know me a little bit, you know me a lot, because there's no knowing me just a little bit. The second thing, once people got to know me and said, well, how do I get a hold of you, was this little brainstorm. Sorry, my green screen isn't behind me, so I've got the virtual screen behind me. Creating the website, thispropertyavailable.com. That became the second element, and that has really helped quite a bit. Admittingly, I probably could keep it more up to date, but the information that's on there is what gets people to me, because they'll follow up with questions, and whether it's an internet lead through the website or a phone call, it has just been able to grow my exposure. So those are the two things. One was in the early stage of my career. Obviously, I learned what it's like to live in Raleigh, North Carolina in the summer. So the tie has come off, and now the website has replaced it.
You know, I remember building our first website back in 1997, back in those days. And of course, people laughed in the real estate world that nobody's ever going to buy real estate through the web. I wrote in a book once, when I wrote my first book, Got Social Mediology, that there was a lady actually at Prudential, where I was at in Raleigh, and she said nobody will ever buy real estate through the internet, ever. And it wasn't a year later, and we had been selling real estate directly, and she was out of business by 1999. And I saw her in a bookstore, and I said, how come? She said, I can't deal with the technology. But the technology, at that time, we were moving slow enough where you could kind of catch up with it. Right now, it's moved so fast. I think technology moves so quick. I think every time we come up with an idea, it gets old. But the website still is a nice staple, isn't it?
It's foundational, because you can connect all your social media through it, blogs through it, video. It's a foundational thing. And I'm not a techie. I'm grateful for the people that have helped me build it and put content on it. But most of the world are not techies. And if they have a phone number, which ends with a .com, they'll find you. That's or awesome. .org, or whatever it might be.
That's awesome. I love that. I love the great use, and congratulations on your success for sure. Mark, Sher, let's talk about your best marketing idea. What was your best marketing idea that brought you the best ROI, and how'd you come up with it?
Okay. It's like a 1.5 part answer.
Okay.
I think that the strongest thing you can do whenever you're marketing is you got to have the right message. Okay. Yeah. And I learned that when I was in college, when I got the highest grade the teacher had ever given in 30 years for marketing. You had to write like a 60-second ad. And I said, and you had to demonstrate it. So I took 2 ping pong balls. I took a razor and put a slit in one of them. And my product was Peter and Paul's Perky Ping Pong Balls. The balls were more bounce to the ounce. I took a regular ping pong ball and said, this is a Peter and Paul Perky Ping Pong Ball. That was one without the razor slit. And I said, here is a standard one. And obviously a ping pong ball with a slit in it isn't going to bounce very high. So it was that simple to have a great message. So we have a great message for what we do. And we work in a very specialized part of the financial world, where the first part of our message is, are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement? Do you have some doubt? And almost everybody in this country, there's only 5% of the people that live in the United States can truthfully say they have no doubt. And then the follow-on to that is, you're like most folks. What if we could show you how to get out of debt in the next 9 years or so, including your mortgage, student loans, consumer credit, without spending a penny more than you're spending now? Could we get 20 minutes of your time? So the message is great. How do we deliver it? Well, I'm a big believer. I call them opportunity cards, 3x6 cards. And I put, are you 100% sure you're going to have a great retirement on one side, then with an arrow to flip over to the back. And I love dropping those in airports. When I fly, I put them in the seat backs. And it's amazing we always get a return on that. And it's just so simple. And it's nothing fancy. It's just a laminated card with a toll-free number on the back, and boom, it works every time.
That's very cool. The message, as a psychological professional, the message to me speaks loudly of you're hitting that emotional center.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important when we try to carve out a message in marketing is, are we connecting emotionally with the need of our potential consumer? And man, what a great, are you sure? Right? Are you convinced? Or do you know for sure that if you died, tomorrow, what would happen to your legacy, right? Financially.
That's not the message we want to get out there. The message we want to get out there is, are you sure that you're going to have a great retirement? Not if you die. To me, our whole thing is about helping people while they're alive, not when they're dead.
Great point. I am adding to your message. I do see it. But I think what happens for us as humans, right, is that we want, we worry about what's going to happen at the end of our life, alive or dead. I mean, I think we do. But I'm not a guy who wants to retire. I think we talked about this last week, but I think, people do think about retirement and, am I going to have enough money? The tendency is that we understand in America, right, is that we outlive our money, right? Isn't that true?
That happens to more. Average American has $2 million passed through their hands during their working lifetime. 46% of Americans have less than $65,000, including the equity in their home when they turn 65. So it's pretty scary, for sure. Those are the real numbers.
Yeah. You're going to outlive your money.
No, you're 100% right. But the real issue is that most people don't understand how money really works. And in the real estate world, a lot of people have mortgages. And I'll just use an example of a 3% mortgage. A 3%, $300,000 mortgage, right? Your interest rate the first year is 43%. In the 10th year, it's 20-something, it's 30-something%. It's like 19%. And in the 20th year, you're not paying 3% interest on the mortgage until the 29th year. And this works for everybody. I don't care what kind of mortgage you have. If you crunch the numbers and really do what the banks do, and you can just go to amortization-calc.com and look at what your interest is, look what your payment is, divide the interest into the payment, your eyes are going to pop out of your head.
Right.
You only have to tell people the APR. That's it. And when people see this, they go, how come no one told me this? And we go, it's in your mortgage. Well, I'm not going to read 100 pages or 40 pages.
They'll sort of tell it to you at the closing, barely, the attorney, slightly.
They don't have to. The only thing they have to say, Stephen, is they have to disclose the APR. That's it.
Right. Nobody
shows you the full amortization table that I've ever dealt with.
Right. Yeah. The full amortization.
In North Carolina, they do show you the form. They say this is something for you to look at your leisure. And they hand you the form and have you sign it. The offer is so important. Crafting a great offer will bring you incredible returns. One of the offers that I made early in my career, and luckily my brokerage allowed me to do it, was I list teachers' homes for free. And I've done it for 11 years. And to this date, it still brings me business. Someone that I did a transaction with 8 years ago, a teacher, is coming back to me now. And yes, I will be selling his home again for free. But now because of the money he saved in those different transactions I've done for him, now he's purchasing a $900,000 home. And I'll get all the commission on that. So a good offer is something important as well.
Mark, I want to ask you, where did you come up with the idea to carve that message? Because it is a powerful message. Where did that come from? How did that impetus? Is it accidental? Were you sitting around?
This was a well thought out message that we've been using in our company, and we were very big on using psychological situations. And a lot of our PowerPoint presentations that we use for business, we have a psychologist look at them and we go, when someone sees this, what do you think they're going to think? And when you can get people thinking the way you want to think, you're halfway home in sales.
It's so true. So very true. I love that. What a great job. Thanks, Mark, for doing that. Damon King, what was your great marketing idea that gave you the best ROI? Where'd it come from?
It came from the belief or the philosophy that if you seek first to provide value before anyone's ever bought anything from you, that buying from you, hiring you becomes inevitable. And so what this caused me to do in my industry was that, in my heart, I'm a teacher. I educate. And I, like a lot of financial advisors, at first, early in my career, I did the come enjoy a gourmet steak dinner at restaurant XYZ. Mm-hmm. We'll feed you for free and we'll give you all this great information.
Plate liquors.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that those seminars don't work. They do for many people, but it didn't work for me because I didn't feel authentic. And I was out all of these steak dinners and I felt pressure. I got to have return to justify this cost. And then I switched my thinking and thought, you know what? I'm not going to feed people. I don't need to feed people. I don't care. I want to educate. So I turned that around and said, I'm not doing any seminars anymore. I'm going to lead an actual class. So I created a series of curriculum or series of classes. And I wanted to go into schools and libraries and places like that to teach these courses. Problem is, I didn't know exactly what I was going to teach. And then it dawned on me, well, I have the curriculum I need to teach. It comes from the stories of my clients that I work with every day. I don't need to buy someone else's curriculum. So I created my own called Rock Your Retirement. And this is a 130-page workbook full of simple stuff, but it's stuff that I do. And so I created a 4-hour, 2-night class, and I hosted at the local university. And they don't know that it's not sanctioned by the university. I rent space there. But the point is that when I market this class, I'm not marketing it as come to my seminar and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. I teach them how all of these things work. As Mark just mentioned a moment ago, there's a lot of people out there who are afraid. They don't know how retirement works. You're talking doctors and attorneys and engineers, people who are really smart, very well educated. They've saved a lot of money, but in some ways they've done it almost by accident, by just saving money, okay? They don't really know how to do that. So I like to demystify the process. So I thought, okay, I'm going to teach you how this all works. And I'm going to do it in normal human language. I'm going to tell you stories of my actual clients. And that's what I do. I tell stories for 4 hours over 2 nights. And my first year that I started this in 2016, very first class I taught was at a local library, and I had 3 people in my class, 3 women. 2 of those women actually became my clients. That grew and grew and grew to the point now I do 10 classes a year, every month. And generally I have about 15 to 20 people in each class. And last year from my classes ended up writing about $20 million in business. And so I'm a real believer in seek first to provide value, then say, now that I've shown you where we're going, who do you want as your guide? Who do you want taking you the rest of the way?
That $20 million must be very conservative. What about all the people that they referred you to?
Okay, well, yeah, those are just the people that came to my classes. Yeah, that doesn't even talk about people that they refer their next door neighbor or their family members. I was just meeting with a client this morning, and her brother has attended my class. At the time, didn't book an appointment, but she talked to him all weekend long about, you need to go see Damon. Because now, not only do I teach this class, but I do a weekly 30-minute webinar every Wednesday, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. This class, I charge you $49 to come. That's another thing. I'm giving you value, but you're going to pay for it. This is a real class, and I'm not feeding you anything. You can bring your own damn food, okay? I'll give you coffee, tea, and water. That's it. What you're here for is an education. And then, of course, at the end, I give them the opportunity to book that appointment. Say, if you want to peek behind the curtain, you want to go even deeper, I can't teach you everything in 4 hours, but I don't need to. Let's talk about you. And it's worked out great. I'm getting ready to record a virtual version or an online version of this, kind of in bite-sized pieces. I created a new program called Chapelwood University. So our company's Chapelwood Financial Services. And now I have an educational branch called Chapelwood University. And that's where I put all my video content, my podcasts, the blogs that I write. You can buy my workbook. If you don't want to come to the class, you can buy the workbook. But that almost invariably sends people to my class. So anyway, that's been my greatest marketing.
Your class should be called Coffee to Your Me.
Okay, there you go. I like that.
Well, I think it's great that you, what you understood was that at the very core, you stayed authentic to who yourself was. And that was, I am a teacher at my very core. And I think the fact that you are a teacher, this just fits real well into marketing. And I think sometimes we try to push marketing in the wrong direction, as you described, that, you know what, the plate lickers were just not going to be your style. But if you were being true to your authentic self, you were a teacher. And I think that always works better in our marketing when we stay authentic to who we are. I think that's a great lesson for sure. Katie Blomquist, what was your greatest marketing idea that brought you the most ROI?
Or if we're talking about the nonprofit with going places, I think, and I didn't even do this purposely, but all of a sudden, once I caught on quickly, once it started to work. And for me, it's bringing in donations and talking about, you know, the wow factor. And that's something with my online course in my online academy, teaching people how to start or revamp their nonprofits. It's a topic that most people don't think about. And when it comes to nonprofits, like people don't think of nonprofits as businesses. They don't think about nonprofit founders as entrepreneurs, and they don't think about, you know, a wow factor. What is your nonprofit doing to stand out against others similar to it? And I always emphasize it's not what makes you better, it's what makes you different. And, you know, if there's 3 nonprofits in town that all help the homeless, great. But surely you're not all 3 doing the exact same thing. You know, there has to be some different, like what are you doing that makes you stand out? And it's what you're doing that makes you stand out is what makes people say, oh, wow, you know, it's called the wow factor. And, you know, with my nonprofit, it's, oh, we give bikes to every single child at once in the low-income elementary schools. So we're giving 400, 600 bikes at once, and our bikes are custom made. They're not just go to Walmart and buy a bike. And generally people's reaction is, oh, wow, you know, that's really cool. And so it's the wow factor is what gets people sharing, liking, donating. It's what gets the media's attention. If it's nothing exciting that's standing out, that's generally not going to get people want to be part of something that's exciting. And that's, you know, that grabs your attention. Everyone's busy. Everyone has little free time. Everyone's competing for your donations. People want to be part of something that makes them say, wow, look at this. Like, look what they're doing. Like, this is really cool. And so, you know, once someone was trying to put me down and was like, you're just a headline chaser. And at first I was like so offended. And when I was telling my board, they're like, you should have said thank you, because that doesn't mean what I'm doing is disingenuous at all. It just means, how else are you going to get, how else in 4 years are we where we're at? Most nonprofits take 12 years to get here. It's because we're in the headlines all the time. That's what gets people to donate. It doesn't mean what I'm doing, it doesn't mean anything, like it's not superficial. It's just, we know how to that's how you get donations. You have to get people talking. And the media has got to cover it more than once. You know, I'm on the news like 30 times a year in Charleston, and I've been on the national news year after year, not just once, and over lots of, you know, stations and media outlets. And so that's what gets people's attention and them to donate. So I think really emphasizing that wow factor, which is drawing attention to what you're doing, is a great marketing technique a lot of people don't focus on. Like, I am always networking. I'm always, at every event possible. If there's an opportunity in a room to raise your hand and talk, you better believe my hand is the first hand in the air, and I will find something to say about the nonprofit, because I want to get in front of as many eyes and ears as possible, time after time. People, you want it, they always say with products, it takes, 6 times for it to pass your eyes before you purchase. And that's for just your eyes. So think how many times it has to be out there for it to go past your eyes that many times. Well, that's when you're walking away with something in return for your money. With a nonprofit, you walk away with just a good feeling. You don't walk away with the product. And so it's like 12 times it has to pass your eyes, or 14 times, whatever the exact number is. So think how many times we have to be out there. So you're like, oh, I've heard of that nonprofit. They're the ones that give away all the bikes, right? That's what everyone says to me. Like, I recently became single again, and which is a good thing. And I was on all the dating apps, and so many guys like, wait, you're the girl that does all the bikes, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm glad you recognize me. And so, it's a good thing, because that means I'm out there and people are, I'm the bike lady. And so it's good. I'm doing something right. And I know it's because of that wow factor.
I love differentiation. It's so important to know what it is that you do. You have to have such self-awareness. What is it that we do that's different and unique? Because you are absolutely right. In your business, and it is a business, even though it's a nonprofit, is that everybody is trying to get somebody else's dollar, right, to donate. And so what is it? Is there something about what you do that people do want to say, wow, or, I want to be a part of that, right? Because something is going to touch the emotional center of what you do, giving away bikes, and going, I want to be a part of that, right? So you have to be in front of people all the time, because you never know who that person is that finally the message comes through and says, oh man, I need to be a part of that. Right. And because it's not necessarily the first time. Right.
And it's not even, this doesn't even apply to just nonprofits, like a coffee shop that opens up. I mean, think how many more coffee shops you're competing with. What do you have that's different? Do you have pastries? Do you have breakfast? Do you have lunch? Do you have wine? Like, are you playing sport? Like, what are you doing that's different about your coffee shop that's going to bring in someone and that from the old shop down the street that they've been going to for 5 years? So it's, it's every single business has to think about, what am I doing differently that's going to grab people's attention, make them remember me, and make them want to come, work with, donate, buy, whatever with me versus somebody else. And like I said, it's not something that's better. It's just people connect to different things, and let them know what you're doing. Maybe that's, what they connect to, what they want to be part of, that they have a passion for.
I love that. That's great. Thank you, Katie. I'm going to go to Lisa Grunden. Lisa, listen, you need to introduce yourself first. It's really important that we get to know you a little bit. And this is your first show. So welcome to the panel, and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us about your marketing idea that you had that brought you such great ROI.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Grunden. I am the Unf Your Life coach. I never know where I can swear or not, so I always swear on my podcast and in my own classes. So you can fill in what Unf stands for. And I teach people how to love themselves again genuinely. Now, on the surface, that kind of sounds like, what? And yet think about that. There's all these stories. We've reached a certain point in our life, and I can speak for myself as a woman. I've never been a man in this particular lifetime. And so much of our lives has been spent feeding other people's priorities, putting other people first and everything else. I teach people, not just women, because I have a lot of men in my audience as well, what it means like to put themselves first. I am the queen of swearing again, because I was raised a good girl, and good girls, they do sugar and spice and everything nice, and they definitely don't say fudge. And I say fudge a lot. And what I love about that is it gets people, it reaches a center as they're crossing a boundary, as they're crossing a line that thou shalt not cross. And who knows where it goes from there, because I don't care what a person geeks out about their life. I show people, I demonstrate for people, I get people excited about their own lives again, loving their own lives. And what happens from that? I could spend the rest of the day sharing all of the plus stories, just like all of you guys have said too. And the biggest thing that happens is somebody gets really excited about their life, and a dream that they'd always had, all of a sudden, it's what their life is, something they chased forever. And that's what I do. And I have a fudge lot of fun doing it.
That's awesome. So what was your best fudge and marketing idea that you've ever had when it comes to marketing?
You know what? Live always works for me. I don't care how old school it sounds. And live doesn't just mean networking events anymore. So I just want to say before I forget, Katie, I loved how you freaking created that blue ocean and a very red ocean market. Oh my God. I wrote down some notes. That's fabulous. Live. People get to see you. Now, I swear to God, I paid everyone who told me how I was supposed to behave. They told me what I was supposed to wear. And let me tell you, everything you see here in front of you goes against every piece of advice that I ever freaking paid for. That you showing up genuine, it's your energy, it's your attractive characterness. It doesn't matter what your attractive character is. Your attractive character is genuine. And then when people see you authentically, and in my case, swearing up a storm, because I do, some people can't believe how much I do. However, let me tell you, I admire Elizabeth Taylor, even though she's not around anymore. And she swore more than all the sailors combined. So, hey, that's a market there. Never underestimate live and inviting people to hire you.
Love that.
I tell you, it works all the time.
Yeah, I think I think this goes right along lines with Damon King, and also with Mark Sher. I think with everybody that we've talked to is, you've got to be true to you, because when we're true to ourselves, and that authenticity really comes out, people love it because we're passionate about it and we're being real, and that builds trust much more quickly. And we become more likable, right? Because
yes.
We don't trust people we don't like people we don't know. So the fact of the matter is, when we get ourselves known authentically and we become more likable, that leads to the trust factor. And I think that's beautiful. Well, welcome, Lisa. It's great to have you aboard for sure. I'm going to move on and have her reintroduce herself. Norma Hollis, welcome back to Rockstar Connect and the 3 Martini Lunch. Norma, reintroduce yourself back to the group because you haven't been here in a while.
It has been a couple of months. I've been busy. And you guys are talking my language. You can see this behind me is my authenticity grid. And you're talking my language, you're talking authenticity, you're talking about likability and all the things that I'm about. That's my platform, authenticity, helping people understand what it really means. People tell you all the time, be authentic, but what does authenticity really mean? I took 30 years to study human nature from personal, professional, and spiritual perspectives. And I came up with this grid, which is really an energy grid, which talks about the energy that we all have within us and how it integrates. And it's such a powerful tool that kind of channeled through me that I have made in the last few months, about 4 other grids. I have a dignity grid for the inclusion conversation. I have an energize your sales grid for people to increase their sales. I have an engagement grid for more impact, and a corporate grid for a corporate culture. And I have team members that help me teach it. So that's what I'm all about. I work with coaches, speakers, solopreneurs, and leaders that really want to step into their true authenticity, because it's through being authentic that you really have the greatest sales and the greatest meaning in life, and life therefore more meaningful, happier, long lasting, just all those wonderful adjectives that we all talk about. So that's who I am and what I do.
That preaches to me. I'm just going to tell you that right now, Norma. That preaches to me. So, Norma, what was your greatest marketing idea that brought you the biggest ROI?
Well, I guess it's kind of combined, and I did not know it at the time. When I started my business, I started out as the first Black woman to own a speaker bureau for Black speakers. And I didn't know that I was the first Black woman on a bureau for Black speakers, and I didn't know what really a speaker bureau really meant. But that was also the time that internet was first getting started. So I was an early adapter to internet, and I was the first Black woman to have websites. I had 2 of them for Speakers Etc. and Black Speakers Online. And I got known nationally. And so I used that connection. I got a lot of Black speakers to join my webinars and my emails and all that. And then I leveraged them to ask them to host me in their city. So when I finished the grid behind me, I asked them who would host me, and I had 20 different people host me in 20 different cities that I traveled to in 18 months to introduce my grid, and that's when my business started. Now I am known as, in the Black community, as a legend in the speaking industry. In fact, I just got an invitation yesterday to talk about how the industry is going as one of the legendary speakers in the industry for the Black community. The second thing that I've done that has been big is I picked the color orange years ago as my branding color. And I always wear orange wherever I go. I can be in an airport in another city and someone say, I know you're the authenticity lady in orange. And so those 2 things that I had no idea would be so long lasting have definitely been, I think, my best ideas.
There is one of the greatest marketing books was by Michael Porter, Harvard University. And he wrote so many things, and you touched on all of them. You can never beat first. If you're first to the market, you win. And you can never beat legendary, because when you become legendary, everybody else loses. So you win when you're first, and everybody else loses when you're legendary. So when you become a legend, you have those 2 bookends that are just beautiful for you. And then I think the other piece is, and what a great thing, branding with color. Wow, so powerful that because we do associate color with different moods, do we not?
Yes.
And so you've created this bright orange color, and what a great way to brand yourself. I think that's really critical for people to catch, is that, man, don't underestimate the power of color in your branding and marketing.
Yeah, the right color. Orange is such a joyful color, so people get joy whenever they see it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Norma. Andrew Pierce, sitting back there, brother. How you doing, man?
What's up?
What was your best marketing idea that brought you the most ROI?
The backstory on that one is blending my past as a chef with my current real estate career, because there's like 6,000 people in my area that sell houses, but not all of them can cook. So by doing that, it was simple. And Stephen loves to talk about it, but by not wearing the coat and tie and, traditional haircut and everything, just standing out that way. But the one activity that got me the best ROI, I live streamed a cooking show of how to make chicken and waffles from an $850,000 house, because the owner wanted to have her home smell like chicken and waffles for the open house.
That's cool.
Great show.
That's so cool.
Like 30 minutes, I set up a camera, and it was live. So technically you could watch it, but also come in and get a sample of the food when you toured the house.
That's awesome. I love that. What a great idea. And this just is another case in point of coupling your passion with your new career and making that blend together to create something beautiful and great that people will attach themselves to. There's a reason why the Food Network is still around, right?
Yeah, and it did to restaurants what HGTV did to remodels. It killed it.
Right.
It made everybody a genius, and it's a pain.
Yeah, I love the idea of people combining things together in their marketing, finding some way to make a combination of your passions. I think that, again, Norma would probably even say, when we can combine those things, there's some of our authenticity coming through, right? Because he's combining his natural love with cooking with his new career of real estate, and he's kind of making that happen, and that brings that authenticity forward, and I just think that's beautiful. What a great idea. Love that. Jenny Midgley, how are you, darling? What was your greatest marketing idea?
I'll let you know when I have it. Things have worked so far, right? Like, right. I just don't know what's, it's hard for me to compartmentalize and be like, this is the best, because it's really depending on so many variables that most are outside of my control. I mean, I can say that to date, so far, I would say COVID actually was what sparked the biggest moment for me, only because like it was a if I don't do something right, like I will have no money. So like I will have zero revenue. So I was forced to do something because, you know, when the world shut down, I photograph people. And when the world shuts down and the state says you can't photograph people because it's considered non-essential, what, you know, except for media, and even doing that was like super scary. So what was I supposed to do? So I flipped it and did my created an online course and did all this stuff that like I was doing consulting anyway, but I did the thing that brought me a huge ROI. That was last year. This year it seems like it's going to be speaking. Next year, who knows? It depends on what the goals are. It depends on what, you know, where I'm at. I mean, it can vary month to month based on what my kid's schedule is, right? Like my son plays travel hockey. So my marketing plan has to be able to accommodate the weekends that we're traveling to Nashville or to DC or to Charleston. You know, it's really like, you know, I'll let you know.
You know what? But let me tell you what you just said about marketing. Being able to pivot in your marketing becomes critical. We have to be able to be willing to pivot in our marketing regardless of the circumstances. And maybe you haven't thought you have the greatest marketing idea yet, but the truth of the matter is the greatest marketing idea that you have is that your ability to pivot. That is the greatest marketing idea. And I think people have to be willing to do that. I think sometimes we can get so stuck in our brand or our marketing and we don't recognize when it's not working. But we get so caught up in it because we like it that we have to be able to let it go and pivot. And I think that's beautiful.
And that's a huge thing that I talk about with my clients too. Because I mean, and that's the other thing is like I have multiple, I don't want to say revenue streams, but there's multiple facets to my business. And some of it is marketing consulting and some of it is my podcast. And some of it is the photos that I take. And some of it is just like, I kind of joke, it's tongue in cheek. And I say, you know, people pay me to give them permission just to do like one thing, right? Like it's that taking control of your marketing. And Sarah, Elliot, yes, I do have a webinar that I run like once every month or once every 2 months with my copywriter. So you're not wrong. Here's a webinar out there. But yeah, she was commenting about the podcast in the chat. But it's, you know, because I do so many varied things, I have to be really strategic about what I talk about. And most of the time I just talk about marketing because it fits, right? But I talk about that with my clients all the time because they get stuck in this, that they think they are their ideal client. And 95% of the time you are not your ideal client. So whatever you think about marketing plans is wrong. Like, don't listen to yourself. Like, don't think that you have, like, you could have great ideas for someone else who you are the ideal client for. Like, your own ideas to market your own business are, I mean, I'll just say it, are usually wrong. So talk to another expert who's going to have your business best interests at heart about your business, not about what you think is a great idea.
Love it. I think, is it Adam? Is that the last one I have left? Is Adam Bricker?
Mr. Bricker.
Adam?
You saved me for last, Coach Jay.
I did, brother, man. I saved you for last because I know that I've got some studio glitches going on here in my studio. So I'm going to let you, and then I'll come back. But what was your greatest marketing idea and that you had? Where did it come from?
Well, easily my best marketing idea and the greatest ROI I have was digital business card. Jay, you walked away on my visual. You got to see the visual. It's right there for you. Digital business card. Okay.
I'm trying to fix something on the back end.
You do what you got to do. I just want to let you know that that's my greatest ROI. That was my greatest marketing scenario. I was at a car dealership. I was selling cars. And I would hand people my business card and they would just walk away. I'd never hear from them again. I got 1 out of 10 people would call me back when I gave them my card. So I invented this digital business card. It cost me 14 minutes. That's it. 14 minutes, made the card. And you know how many people call me back using the digital business card? 1 out of 10. Okay. Except I had all 10 of their phone numbers, so I could call them. So any day it was raining and nobody was in, I had a whole list of people who had just been in that I could call. And you know, if I asked you which car would you rather drive to get you from, you know, point A to point B, you know, a 1989 Ford Fiesta or a 4-on-the-floor powered up muscle car from the 60s, all redone. Well, if you can't drive stick shift, you're taking the Ford Fiesta. And the difference between a digital business card and a paper business card is knowing how to use it. So we haven't just been first to business. Okay. We've reinvented and repurposed a digital business card into a digital branding toolbox. So we also teach people how to use that. So I know that you said, Jay, earlier, digital business cards haven't caught on. I prefer to say we're in the early adapter stage, and I have hundreds of clients that would reinforce that. Now, when I have thousands and thousands of clients, that'll be legendary. So that's the process I'm going through right now. Digital branding card, we just put everything else in the card because you know what percentage of my potential clients carry a smartphone with them every day? 100%. 100%. In the 20th century, the 3 most important things in sales were location, location, location. It's been redefined in the new century. And that's what my biggest ROI is.
You know, with 170,000 attendees have gone to our events, we don't have one physical card.
Yeah.
I mean, we took all those cards. What do? We immediately put them to digital so they have some value.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean,
room to fill up. That would be a lot of business cards in one room.
So, Adam, are you now? Did you create this digital card? Did you have a company create it for you? How did that evolve?
So I created the absolute worst digital card ever in the history of the world. Okay. But then I became a client of a really smart company. Okay. And I became the best user of it. I was their #1 affiliate. So what I've done now is I've put together 3 different companies, 3 different sets of technology. I call it a digital branding toolbox. And the business card is just one part of it, but it doesn't work that effectively alone. When you couple it with the other parts, it works amazingly well. So I'm not the brains behind the technology. I'm just really good at using it.
And when you think about the ROI of this product, I mean, how are you measuring it? I didn't talk about that with others, but what's your measurement criteria for return on investment?
So it's basically how much money increased revenue are my clients getting. I use it for myself so I can measure how much I'm getting. The ROI is so strong. My current offering guarantees $40,000 of revenue if you're selected to be one of my clients. So on a $4,000 purchase, I guarantee $40,000 of revenue. So, you know, that's what 1,000% ROI as a guarantee to get started.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. I get the phone app. When I said the digital cards, I was thinking of I think it was called Pixie or something like that was one time with the USB.
Yeah.
Was that what it was, Pixie? And remember, you put your business information on this thing and you could plug it into, you know, something, and then it would download it, and you could then you could see their information and pull it. But it seems like, oh, look at you, just changing that up there, didn't you?
I did it. That's just for your entertainment.
Oh, look at you doing that. Now you're just flipping around. Now you're just teasing me with it.
I opened my first business in 1992 selling business cards door to door. I went all through Fort Lauderdale. I knew it was the right business because 2 days after I made the agreement, we had the announcement. Fort Lauderdale was changing their area code to 954. Everybody needed a new business card. So we brought the new one with all the colors and the pictures on it. It was brand new technology. That technology wasn't there. I've been in that industry for 27 years and finally found an area where we can be first, we can dominate. And like you said, I'm going to be legendary in what we're doing.
I love it. Listen, folks, if you're out there watching, you've just heard the best of the best give you their best. That's what you just got today. In 1 hour, you heard the best of the best give you their best marketing ideas. Take something from it, be practical, and use it, right? They put it out there for you to use. Get a hold of these folks. Find them. Get them on LinkedIn or wherever the social media is. Find Adam's digital card somewhere. Steal it from somebody if you have to, right? That's what you got to do. But get a hold of these folks because these folks are helpful and they're going to help you, I promise you, be a superstar. Stephen David Elliott, go ahead. Take it from there.
Yeah, so we have a couple events. Thank you, Jay, so much for the question today. Excellent question. Great value for everyone who's on the show. And certainly we learned a lot more about what we do. Andrew Pierce, you have an event this evening?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. I have an event tomorrow night as well in downtown Raleigh. A lot more Rockstar Connect events. Next week, we have the famous North Hills networking event, which was the first Rockstar Connect event. We are going to be located at the Raleigh Beer Garden. And who's tonight?
Me.
Katie's events tonight in Charleston, and she has 2 million people attending. You have to make sure you attend that one. We don't know what we're going to do with the fire marshal on that one. We've been telling the venue only 5 people have RSVP'd. Boy, are they in for a shock. But check out rockstarconnect.com. We hope to see you next week. Hey, guys, if you know of anyone who wants to open up their own event, we have some great possibilities and opportunities, especially in the Texas, California, and Georgia area. So look us up. Thank you. And by the way, Lisa and I, we met through a unique way. We met through Facebook Marketplace. And I think Facebook Marketplace is an excellent place to network with other people. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more next week briefly so you can utilize it in your business. Thank you all for attending, and we'll see you next week.